age, with an aim to conquer the mountains within, he started climbing the mountains outside. Arjun Vajpai is India's youngest mountaineer to climb Mount Everest and a record holder of being the youngest Indian to scale 6 out of the 14 8,000-meter mountains. A mountaineer, a philanthropist, a motivational speaker, and an explorer, Mr. Vajpai, time and again, with his expeditions of valor and determination, has played a pivotal role in putting India's flag at the highest of peaks. Thank you, sir, for making time for us. It's great to have you with us today.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome. I'm absolutely, it's my honor to be here. Thank you.
So, starting off with the first question, I would like to ask you, what is your earliest memory of mountains and mountaineering? And what was the reaction of your parents when you first told them that at the age of 16 you want to summit Mount Everest? So, what was the reaction at that point of time?
When I think about it, my earliest memory with climbing mountains or going out for a small adventure was probably when I was in my sixth grade. I'd gone for my summer vacations to my nana's house, and he was quite a avid walker. He'd go out every evening for long evening walks, and then one day he took me very close to Pune. There are small hills called the Sayadri Hills,
Yeah.
and there are small, wonderful hikes and treks which one can explore over there. As a 10-year-old, I very distinctly remember going for a small trek to Hanuman Tekri, and we made it to the top in a couple of hours, and I saw the sunset happening, and just standing over that edge at Hanuman Tekri, I looked at my nana and I asked him, if it looks so beautiful from here, I want to see how beautiful will it look from the highest point on this earth. And Nana, just looking into the nothingness, he looked at me and then he said, "Do you even know what's the highest point on this planet?" And me being me, I was never paying attention in my school textbooks. I was like, I don't know, but I want to go there one day. It was like, it's called Mount Everest, and you should know that people actually go about climbing this mountain. And little did I know, once I came back from my summer vacation, that there was a chapter in our Hindi textbook called Everest Meri Shikhar Yatra by Madam Bachendri Pal ma'am. And she happens to be a Padma Shri, a Padma Vibhushan awardee by the government of India, and was back in her day the first Indian woman to have ever climbed the Everest. And when I read about her chapter, it was described very well in that how they went about climbing. It was a small excerpt from the book, but it was a very good, it was enough for a 10-year-old to take a deep plunge into his imagination and start dreaming about all kind of dreamy things of what he would be doing when he was on Everest with his limited imagination, I would say. But slowly things shaped up in a way where I absolutely had no idea that in about 6 years time from now, I would actually be standing on the top of the world. Now, going fast forward a little bit to your second question, was when I told my parents about my intentions of climbing the Mount Everest. So I basically finished my advanced mountaineering course, and I had come back from my advanced course in 2009. I was one of the youngest people to be in my batch. There weren't a lot of youngsters in our batch. Mountaineering was a sport which was basically practiced by children who were 18 and above. I was a little too early at it, but I think it has its own pros and it has its own cons. Keeping the pros in mind, I moved forward, got my alpha grading, got a pat on my shoulder from all my instructors at NIM. They definitely saw the spark in my eyes. They saw the enthusiasm with which I wanted to go forward with. They saw that I was physically able to cope up to lower oxygen levels even at a very young age. And they said, okay, one day you might climb Mount Everest. So after getting graded and becoming a mountaineer at NIM in Uttarkashi, India, I realized the dream that I wanted to climb Everest. Now this excited 15-year-old comes home back from his training, and mother is waiting because obviously last 1 month I have not had any chance of looking at my books. I'm barely making it across every grade ahead of 6th grade itself. That's the point where schools can officially start failing you. So every year was an academic challenge for my parents, coming from a middle class background family where my father is an ex-army officer, my mom is an artist by profession, dreaming of climbing such big mountains like Mount Everest was not only stretching my legs beyond what we were capable of imagining in our family, but also it was a big financial decision which one had to
Yeah.
come to terms with. For the first time, when I remember mentioning climbing Everest to my mom, she was standing in the kitchen. She looked at me and first she said, "अगर इतने पैसे होते तो मैं तुम्हारी बहन की शादी करवा देती इतने पैसों में तो." So the cost at that point of time to be invested into such a climb was about 30 to 35 lakh rupees, which was certainly a very significant amount to be undertaken. My parents were in a dilemma whether should we fund his expeditions or his frills and fancies or his these dreams which he's running behind, or
Yeah.
should we save this money for his further education? Because as it is, I was not doing very well in my studies. So they were stuck in a dilemma. But my father, being a ex paratrooper from the Indian Army, he was an adventure seeker. He was a risk taker. He definitely saw the hunger inside me, and he reached out to his friends. He found out how what is the whole procedure of climbing Mount Everest, and he met a couple of more of his batchmates who were mountaineers in the community, and they got in touch. We got a lot of information, but still Everest was quite far. My parents were like, okay, even if you ended up climbing, even if we agree to send you to Mount Everest, how are you going to ultimately do this? So obviously reactions were crazy. Challenges were quite a few, but I feel the entire cosmos comes together once you
Absolutely.
really want to you really want something really bad, you really
Yeah.
dream of something really bad, you're really hungry for something beyond a certain point, things start to fall into place. And so that
True.
happened with me as well. There were more than 24,000 people across India, lots of journalists, lots of press who helped us out raise funds for my expedition to Mount Everest. Back in the day, there weren't crowdfunding platforms like Keto or
Yeah.
multiple foundations nowadays are running quite a few platforms. So by just word of mouth, we were able to activate and dream of a 16-year-old trying to imagine of something absolutely impossible, something which nobody had done before, got his wings of hope, and ultimately reached the base of this mountain.
Wow, that's great. Okay, so moving on, it obviously takes a lot of preparation while you're climbing a summit physically. So I want to know, how do you prepare yourself mentally and emotionally while you're summiting a mountain, or even just preparing to do that? So how do you prepare yourself emotionally for that?
Training your body day in and day out, again and again over a period of time, is basically a way of tapping into a hemisphere in your brain. A healthy body leads to a healthy mind, and a healthy mind has unlimited potential. Mountaineering is a very difficult sport. Getting into 8,000-meter climbing, that too into mountaineering, is a very extremely challenging sport. Margin of error is very low. The mountain does
Yeah.
not know the difference between a small mistake and a big mistake. It does not differentiate between who's rich and who's poor, or who's a man or who's a woman. Everything is equal for it. A small mistake and a big mistake, the consequences are the same. So obviously, you have to be prepared very well, physically and mentally, um, emotionally as well. These are some of the things which I pay a lot of focus on. If you give up in the mountains, in the high mountains above 8,000 meters, you die. It is that simple. It's a thumb rule. So giving up has never been an option for me. Giving up is definitely not something which you even think about. Um, Physical training takes us to a certain point. We can train ourselves and get better and better every single day. But mental fitness comes from practicing a lot of meditation, and obviously the hunger for your dreams, right?
Yeah.
How passionate you are, how much are you willing to give up, how much have you put online, how much do you care about your dreams, will all be tested. Will all be tested personally, curated according to the person who you are, according to the dreams which you've thought out. Challenges will come all along our way in each one of our lives according to what kind of mindset and what kind of hurdles
Yeah.
do we have to overcome, or what is the future person that we want to become. So I definitely believe that everybody out there has a mountain in their lives to climb. It may not be a real mountain, but everybody has their own mountain which they are trying to climb. Now the process of climbing the mountain is similar, may it be in real life or may it be in mountaineering. We first start by dreaming, then we start by preparing, then we start in our preparing plan, we set a plan. Then never, you have to keep in mind, even though you know that things are not going to go according to the plan, but having a plan is very necessary. Then while you're executing your plan, you must always be open to adapt. And as you adapt to newer things, you have to be ready to evolve, to become a person who you were not yesterday, to be able to do things which you were not able to do yesterday. So you always have to constantly keep changing. You have to put on multiple hats. I practice a lot of yoga. I practice a lot of meditation. Um, my biggest strength in my life is the relationship which I share with my family. So that keeps a very strong emotional bonding. Um, Having losing team members up on a mountain. I think out of the 14 expeditions which I have done till now, only I think 2 or 3 out of them are where we've come back with the same amount of people who we left with. So it's definitely a very emotionally tasking job. Hello.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
So it's definitely a very emotionally tasking job, but one has to be prepared for all the challenges which mountains have to throw at you.
Yeah. True. That's true. Okay, so your expedition to Mount Malaku was called off 3 times. And in 2015, the
It's
earthquake
called
struck the
Makalu.
region. Makalu, okay. So Makalu was called off 3 times. And in 2015, the earthquake struck the region, and because of which there were a lot of Sherpas and international climbers who succumbed to the mountains. So, how did you cope with this setback? And what was the one thing that motivated you to go back to that place again and successfully scale the mountain?
Mount Makalu happens to be the fifth highest mountain in the world. After Everest, K2, Kanchenjunga, Lhotse, it stands tall at the as the fifth highest mountain in the world out of the 14 8,000-meter peaks. It's a technically very challenging mountain. You are often faced by a lot of avalanches, heavy snowfall, bad weather conditions, winds picking up to almost 150, 180 kilometers per hour, temperatures dipping down to minus 60, minus 70 degrees Celsius. You throw a cup of hot boiling water in the sky, it will not even touch the ground. So the conditions are basically very harsh over there. So it's a very technically challenging mountain. First attempt which we made on it was 2013. We had to turn around almost 200 meters below the summit. We ran out of ropes. In 2014, we went back there with the same team, and unfortunately, we lost a team member about 150 meters short of the summit, very close to the summit, and we decided that we must turn around. Probably the mountain does not want us up there. 2015, we went back for a third attempt, and 15 had a totally different surprise waiting for us. The entire country of Nepal and nearby regions were shaken by the very tragic earthquake which was struck. A lot of loss of life happened. We were very close to the epicenter. There were constant aftershocks which kept coming in after the first gush. So it was indeed it was a challenging time, but the option in front of us was clear. When survival is at stake, you choose survival. And we turned around to come back for the fourth time again. We were broken financially, mentally. Each of these expeditions takes a big toll on you physically. But we were broken, but just not beaten. We were broken enough to go back and attempt the mountain for the fourth time. And finally, in our fourth attempt, we made it to the top. Even in our fourth attempt, Makalu tested us to our limits. We lost 2 Sherpas in that attempt, and it was up to us whether do we continue the climb or not. But we thought that we thought that we'll dedicate this climb. Sometimes the cost of exploration is very high, but to achieve your goals is also important. To keep moving
Yeah.
forward, we dedicated our climb to the Sherpas who we'd lost in that particular attempt, and we made it to the summit in their memory. We still feel their loss today. We still feel very bad and sorry for the families, but this is the sport which we are involved in. There's a cost
Yeah.
to dreaming big and daring to chase it. Unfortunately, at times, mountaineers end up paying it with people, very important people in their lives. Sometimes we end up paying it with our own fingers, with our own toes. Half of mountaineering community does not has both ears or a complete nose due to frostbite. It has to be amputated. So various parts of your body also get summited to the mountain in this journey to reach the top. And it depends on how far are you willing to push yourselves, how far are you ready to go in order to reach the top.
Yeah. Wow, that's absolutely commendable. Okay, so you have at the Arjun Vajpai Outdoor Academy. So I would like to ask that how did the academy came into being and what was the core purpose behind it?
So basically, as I started climbing mountains, I realized that climbing mountains does not just only give a change in perspective physically, that all the things that we used to think are really big, when you're standing at the bottom of a mountain, when you look up, you see the sky is so big, the clouds are so huge, the mountain is so big,
Yeah.
right? The glacier seems so massive. But once you're standing on the top, it changes your perspective from a different vantage point. All the things which seem so big suddenly start looking so small, right?
Yeah.
Not only just physically, but also philosophically, you have a change in perspective. So I really wanted to. I realized climbing these some of the world's most difficult mountains had some beautiful learnings. Being up close to nature in one of its most virgin states had its own lessons and learnings which I wanted to give back to the country which I came from. I saw a huge gap in the education system of India. Growing up as an athlete, I realized that it's a very academia focused education system, and losing the point where newer and newer ways of learning and training the mind are coming every day. But how to keep this physical mind, the brain, the body fit is not there. We are seeing a lack of psychomotor skills in children. Basic hand-eye coordination is missing. Children are missing risk-taking capabilities. And I wanted to give this gift of adventure to each one of these young minds, sow the seed of adventure into each one of these young minds, deep into their hearts. So we started a company called Climb Up, under which we run the Finder Everest program for school children. We run Arjun Vajpai Outdoor Academy, where we are setting up climbing walls across various schools in India. To the Climb Up company, we are also running half day and full day school programs where children get to experience at least the tip of the iceberg of the adventure or the rush which a mountaineer goes through while climbing mountains. And we have about 15 to 20 activities which we set up. Then we are also running for the senior school children adventure programs, trekking programs where we take them out for longer treks, 5 nights, 6 days, long treks where we take them out. We have two campsites. One is near Kanatal in Uttarakhand, and one is in Chel in Himachal Pradesh. So
Okay.
the effort is constantly to take the young Indian outdoors, to sow the seed of adventure young into them, so that they can also reap the benefits of
Yeah.
what I witnessed in my life. And who knows, there might be a lot of more younger Arjuns coming out of
Yeah.
these schools and bettering the benchmarks which we have set in international mountaineering.
Yeah. Nice. So what's your wellness philosophy?
Wellness philosophy. So, Gyan, I don't believe in all of this Gyan. Basically, I believe in having no regrets in life, taking
Okay.
decisions and moving forward, living life to the fullest, uh, having a balanced state of mind. Mountains taught me being too happy about certain happenings in your life and being too sad or too depressed about certain losses in your life is a way of reaction. So mountains taught me of how to come into an observer mode where any kind of happening, I'm just observing. I don't react to situations. I respond to them according to what I want. Keep your
Yeah.
emotions vested inside yourself. To all the young minds out there, don't put your emotions into external factors, into somebody else's happiness, or into another person's happiness. Um, Happiness is something which one has to find from within, and it has to
Yeah.
be triggered from within. So don't let it get out of your control and vested into something which is not in your control. You are in your control, so one must keep that. Third factor will be, don't overthink stuff. Generally nowadays, a lot of children read about a lot of things, and a lot of young minds are reading about a lot of things, and suddenly they feel that they have the knowledge, so they have the understanding, which is a very big misconception. Practical
Yeah.
experiences lead you to understanding stuff, right? Even if you have the knowledge of the size of a, let's say, football field, but you have the understanding of the size of a TT ball, You're only going to understand that much. So expanding your consciousness, realizing, utilizing your knowledge to the betterment of other people, and staying happy. Just stay happy, positive things happen. That is the kind of mindset which I generally believe in. One must have a dream. Young people should not work on a monotonous lifestyle where they are just going from goal to goal, because a goal driven mindset will always lead you to an unsatisfied inner feeling after you've achieved your goals. One must have a vision in their life. A smaller task which we do at repeat every single day, on repeat, is something which makes us into this great person. And greatness is not this elusive godlike feature which only the special amongst us will ever taste. It truly exists in each one of us. It's about identifying it, and it's about leading every day with a certain hope, with a certain optimism, and with a certain motivation.
Wow, that's really nice. And what about your fitness mantra? So what's your fitness mantra?
So fitness mantra is basically a young person, I feel, should always be on the move. Apart from just physically training your body, one must also know how to stay calm and stay at rest. So
Yeah.
physically, I do train a lot. This is my profession. So we do a lot of long distance cycling, long distance running. In a week's schedule, if I say, we have a lot of CrossFit sessions which are happening. There are the gym sessions which happen. There's a lot of what do you call it, calisthenics which we do to build our endurance, and a lot of yoga. So for good breathing exercises,
Mhm.
because obviously when we are climbing higher mountains, your lungs are being put to test. So all of this, the idea of all of this training is to basically simulate the same kind of stress which your body goes through, um, and a never give up attitude. Always keep changing exercises. Always keep picking up newer sports. Always keep testing yourself in things which you're not good at, because once we keep repeating the tasks which you're good at, and a lot of people are quite used to doing this thing in their lives, they
Yeah.
always tend to get attracted towards things which they're generally good at. So what
Yeah.
happens in that process is that you only keep polishing certain skill sets in your life, whereas you yourself don't know the amount of skills which we have and which we can develop from within. So I like taking up
Mm.
things which I'm initially not good at. They seem like a challenge, and then I get better at it slowly in the process, and it has its own learnings.
Okay. So, like, can you share some of the experiences that you loved while you were on your summits? And would you like to recommend some of the experiences to everyone, like some experience that you would recommend? And yeah.
The summits are amazing. It's like a window to the earth, but completely different. Standing on some of the highest points on this planet is truly a blessing, and I will forever be grateful for my parents for allowing me to choose this as a profession and to take my dreams forward. Um, Talking about the views from the top, I think I love the views. I climb for the views. Just not the top, but some of these highest mountains, when you go above certain altitude, you can literally see the earth bending in front of your eyes, the curvature of the earth. The
Wow.
last time when I saw the earth bending in front of me was probably in my textbooks. So seeing it happen in front of your eyes, being able to see till a point where the earth itself starts bending in front of your eyes is a feeling which cannot definitely be put into words. I try and put
Yeah.
it into words, but you're looking down at the sun when the sun is rising, even at a beach or from a high skyscraper. You're always looking at the eye level, right? You're looking at the sun at the eye level. The horizon is always at the eye level.
Yeah.
But standing on these summits, you're looking down at the sun when the sun is rising. It's a it's a it's a feeling which is something beyond explanation. Half of the sky is still dark when the early morning sunrise happens and we're trying to reach the summit. Half of the sky is being slowly reached out by this light coming from this sun which is just popping out of nowhere on the horizon,
Yeah.
right? So being able to see light travel, so you can imagine
Yeah.
the kind of scale which I'm talking at, where
Yeah.
literally you see the light slowly engulf the entire earth, entire horizon,
Wow.
and it's beautiful. It's raining of shooting stars. Sometimes the night skies are
Wow.
so pretty. The journey from the base to the top is something which I ache for, which I'm hungry for. So these are some of the things which I think are beautiful. And now I'm wired a little differently, so I don't know how much can I recommend these things to other people, because most people generally spend so much money and they would like to go on a holiday, or they would like to be very comfortable in the kind of environment where they want to travel. My mom finds me absolutely mad, so to be spending so much money and climbing these 8,000-meter peaks and then risking your life. And according to her, it's risking your life, wastage of time, spending so much money, and then what do you get after climbing a pile of rocks?
Mhm.
So I don't know how much other people can I recommend, but definitely climbing a 6,000-meter peak is what I recommend to all youngsters and everybody out there who feel that they have a little stomach for a little adventure. A 6,000-meter peak would be fantastic. There are lots of trekking mountains. You can go climb Stokangri in Ladakh. You can go about climbing a lot of peaks in Himachal Pradesh, like Hanuman Tibba, Friendship Peak, easier ones, comparatively easier, but the risk is still there, and you will get a taste of adventure just in the right amount. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay. So, with an experience of more than a decade and a couple of near to that experiences, what are some lessons that you would like to give out to young mountaineers who are, just starting off with their journeys?
Life is too short. Do not think about what's going to happen tomorrow. Think about today, especially when you're young. Don't plan and plot and put your mind into stupid things. Don't be very emotional. Have always very big dreams, dreams which scare you, dreams which don't let you sleep, dreams which intimidate you, dreams which you think you cannot achieve. Have that big dreams and keep working forward. Be very hardworking. Sometimes in this process of dreaming, you're going to go away from the people who you started dreaming for, but have trust in yourself. Even if you don't have anybody backing you at times, you can give yourself a pat on your back yourself. Keep moving forward. Never underestimate the power of a dream, and never give up. Always keep dreaming big and daring to chase it. Everybody has a mountain in their lives to climb. It's how early we identify it and how early we start working towards it, which is going to make
Yeah.
us a winner. You know, winning is very important in life. It gives us a very good ego, but I think the real lessons are going to come from failures. So winning is an outcome of your failure. So failure is necessary. Winning is important, but failure is necessary. That's where the real lessons are hidden. That's where you can really take away some learnings in your life and make yourself better. So whenever you fail, you might not have a lot of people standing with you, but do not doubt yourself. Always keep bettering yourself and always keep moving forward.
Yeah, that there are some really inspiring words. Okay, so moving on to the last question, which peak is next on your list?
So there are a lot of mountains which I want to climb. There are a lot of peaks which I want to climb. Real mountains also.
Yeah.
So the next real mountain which I'm going to be climbing is going to be Annapurna. It's going to be my third attempt on it. Once I had to turn around because of a snowstorm about 450 meters short of the summit. This year itself, I was there in the spring season and I had to turn around about 150 meters short of the summit due to frostbite. I had started to develop frostbite in my toes, so I had to take the call. It was either my toes or the summit, and I think I was not yet ready to lose my toes.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, with a very heavy heart, I turned around and had to come down, saving myself to come back stronger and attempt the mountain again, which I'm going to be doing in 2023 spring season again. So Annapurna happens to be the 10th highest or the ninth highest mountain in the world. And I'll be heading over there. The other mountain which I want to climb is, we're in the process. I want to put climb up in every school of India. I want to have a climbing wall in every school in India. So that's the mountain which we've already started climbing, and but that's a big mountain to put sow the seed of adventure in every young mind of India. So it's a 1 billion huge dream, and it's going to take a while, but we're climbing that mountain one day at a time.
Okay, great. So, thank you so much. It was lovely talking to you, and I wish you all the best for all your next summits and whatever you dream of. So, yeah, it was lovely.
Thank you so much, Neha. It
Thank
was
you.
lovely talking to you.